Hello, my name is Nina Mapson-Bone. I am the Managing Director here at Beaumont People. And I thought it would be worth spending a minute or two just sharing with you some of the conversations that I'm having with organisational leaders and owners across the nation at the moment in what is obviously a very worrying time for a lot of organisations. We are having a lot of conversations with leaders who are asking our advice as to whether or not they should continue with their hiring plans. And that's a really difficult decision for people to make. And it's an important decision that ultimately only you as leaders can make for your own business. But there are three things that I would urge you to consider as you make those decisions. The first thing is around how much your business has been impacted and how quickly you can adapt to new opportunities. So we are seeing that some organisations have been impacted in obviously a very negative way and a very terrible way, and that's causing huge concern for them, for the business owners, for the business leaders, and for the employees in the organisation. And understandably, that's a terrible thing to have to go through. We're also seeing some organisations that have been impacted to a point where they can't keep up with new demand that has resulted as the outcome of COVID-19. And that can be a tricky situation as well. What we're seeing all organisations do is rapidly change the way they work and rapidly change their approach to new opportunities. And so the people we see dealing with this best are those that are looking at new opportunities and seeing how quickly they can move on those. And that's one way we can all help to keep people in work. And if you can adapt to new opportunities quickly, that will create an opportunity for you to create more opportunities for your existing people and potentially for those people that have been impacted elsewhere. So the first thing you need to consider in terms of whether or not you should be hiring right now is how badly you've been impacted or how well you've been impacted and how quickly you can adapt to those new opportunities. The next thing you need to consider is when do you think and how strongly do you think some kind of bounce back is going to occur? At some point in the future, this will all go back to it's some form of business as normal. I'm not saying business won't fundamentally change, it may well do, but at some point we're going to get back to some sort of normality around how we go. And when that happens, we're all anticipating that the economy will start booming again and will start growing again. The unfortunate thing is we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know how long it's going to be, how hard it's going to be. But the best thing you can do is really think about when do you think for your industry, for your organisation, when are you going to bounce back? And what resources do you need in order to make the most of that bounce back? Because what we know from history is that those organisations that are ready to move quickly when the environment turns are the ones that can make the most of those opportunities. So when making your decisions around people, your hiring decisions, do think about the future and do think about when and how you're going to bounce back and whether you have the right people on board to make that happen. And then my third point for you around whether or not you should talk about hiring right now is to think about whether you could do it in a different way, whether you could think differently about how you've recruited in the past. One of the things we can see is obviously people are concerned about putting somebody on a permanent employment contract. They're worried about what might be happening. They're worried about committing to somebody in the long term. But don't be afraid to use casual temporary employees. There's a real opportunity here for you to use people on an ongoing basis to give you more flexibility as you navigate through this process. And we're seeing that a lot of casual and temporary employees are much more flexible. They're willing to work from home. They're set up and ready to go because often they're ready to take these opportunities as they can. And that might be one solution as you work out how you can navigate your way through this and determine what you need in terms of your people. So I hope that's been helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please do feel free to reach out to us here at Beaumont People. Thank you very much.